Hello, Black Sheep Thinkers. Hope you're having a good day. Today I want to talk about a friend of mine who we had a breakfast meeting, and he was really concerned with how he was impacting other people, triggering other people, and to the point where he was sort of trying to figure out how to respond to someone he cares about who was dealing with their own thing and taking a lot of accountability for it. And part of his belief system is that he's responsible, or that we differ, is he's responsible for how people respond to him, that he's always trying to be accountable to making sure he doesn't hurt people's feelings. And I think there's a certain amount of kindness that exists in that. Well, I should say nice versus kind, and we'll get to that in a sec, but you know, it's interesting. This person's very successful professionally, personally, he lives a great life, but there's a struggle, and very emotionally intelligent person, but there's a struggle with the need to be cautious. And so the concern with that is that when we live in a place of truth versus our thinking, then in our psychology, then there's no way that we can misspeak. I'm not saying that people won't be hurt, their feelings won't be hurt, but to be accountable for that when you're coming from a place of love and kindness. And so he made an argument. He said, well, like, I love my kids, but that doesn't stop me from saying something because I'm trying to protect them or whatever. And I said, well, that's interesting, because when love goes into fear, that's our psychology. When love goes into control, that's our psychology. But to look at something from an unconditional place of love is acceptance and allowing that. And when you're coming from that place of kindness and love and understanding and forgiveness, then there's no place for things to be wrong. You can't love someone the wrong way. And if they get offended, then it's something that they're going through, and you don't have to own that. And so, and then that's really the difference between being kind and nice. I mean, nice people do finish last because they're constantly concerned about how people are taking them. They're concerned about, you know, am I saying the right thing? Are they going to like me? Is this going to offend somebody? And when you're in that place, you're adapting your behavior and your personality to try to please people. And that actually is pretty much the definition of ego. Like, that's really worrying about yourself in context of relationship. Kindness is removing yourself from that and doing what's right for people. It might be telling somebody they have something in their nose, even though you're worried about embarrassing them one-on-one. It actually is, it's very kind to do that so they don't continue embarrassing themselves, versus maybe somebody who is nice, who doesn't want to deal with that and embarrass and deal with that situation because it would be awkward for them, and they'd really be worrying about themselves in that situation. And so this kind of borders on the line of people pleasing too, right? Doing, saying yes to everybody, or trying to make people feel better about their lives, versus being service and showing up, doing what's right for people, regardless of what we get back in return as validation or as praise. And so working for that scorekeeping situation is very, very dangerous. And so it leads to our overall health and our flow. It's very liberating and free to be in a spot where, if you know you show up in unconditional love. Like, think about, if you have a child, think about the way you love them. At the very beginning of their birth, you looked at them and you loved them. You didn't have a reason. You weren't wanting anything in return from them. You just loved them. And it just showed up for you with no effort. And so the truth is, we can extend that past just our kids. We can look at everyone else as trying to do their best. Instead of going into judgment, we can look at them as trying to do their very best and having stories. And we don't own these stories if we're coming from a place of love. So sure, check yourself if you're coming from a place of ego. Ego being, you know, neediness or judgment, or jealousy or fear. And so that's where a word like love can go into control, right? And turn into jealousy when it goes into the ego. But to love something purely for what it is true acceptance. And the thing is, we have to do that with ourselves first. We have to truly accept and love ourselves so we can give that to others and give them that space. But if you're in a spot of constantly juggling yourself to try to make other people happy, that's a losing game. I mean, to put in another perspective, if you're a people pleaser or you're in this situation, because it's not like black or white, it's a spectrum. There's times where people can slip into people pleasing from service. So it starts off wanting to do good for people and turns into a word like obligation. But just imagine if we had people who were not personalities, but they were colors. And so a lot of people like to hang out with people who are similar to them in personality, right? We don't look for people that are so different that we have nothing in common. You know, opposites don't really attract. They probably drive each other crazy. So we do look for commonality when we meet people. And let's say you met someone and they said, "Hi, my name's Mr. Purple, and I like purple." And you're like, "Well, I'm purple." And then you meet someone who says, "Well, I'm Mrs. Blue," and you're like, "Well, I'm blue." And then you meet someone who says, "I'm green," you say, "Well, I'm green." And pretty soon, as you make your way through the colors of the rainbow, you're going to start disappointing people, because you can't be purple and blue and green. We're all a thing. We're all ourselves. And when we show up as that, yeah, some people might not like us, but they're not our people, and we're not meant to please everybody. But the people who do love you for who you are. And I'd much rather be loved for who I really am than loved for who I'm not. And eventually I will fail those people at trying to be something I'm not, and then I'll go into probably self-judgment. Like, I can't believe how bad I am as a friend or a person. And so there's a lot of risk. What's even more scary is how we'd rather be liked for not being who we are. Like, that's probably very lonely. To be liked as somebody, we see it in movies all the time, when, movies where there's cheerleaders or something, or Mean Girls, where we're trying to be something we're not, and we get accepted and realize how challenging it is to be something that we're not, and we'd much rather be disliked for who we are, than liked for who we're not. And the truth is, the more I became true to who I am, the more people were around me that accept me, because we do shine a mirror on people. When we're willing to accept ourselves for being human, it allows other people the space to do the same. And so the best way to heal the world around you is to just be yourself, love yourself, because you own 100% of the relationships you have. Meaning, you're just a mirror to the people around you. And so if you want people to like you more, if you want to have better relationships, start with yourself and offer people the same courtesy. Make room in your heart for you, and the rest will take care of themselves. That's today's message. Hope you saw value in today, and you can grow through that. And let me know if you have any comments or questions below. Have a great day. Take care.